Yo, what is up, ladies and gentlemen? Kevin Jackowitz back here with the Kaged review, and man, dude, so big channel changes. We've already talked about that. Had 2 strikes, and so I'm really limiting what I do. I'm changing up the intro for the wrestling reviews, as you just saw. And sorry I haven't been able to post. I had a little stint in the hospital, and then some other things that just kind of prevented me from recording. So I'm going to try to get a bunch done today as far as recordings go. I've been putting a lot on my gaming channel, trying to get caught up on that, so it, in a way, is kind of helping me with that. But for right now, we're doing a review for Monday Night Raw. It's for 121.19. And you actually start out with Brock Lesnar, which I thought was cool. You had Paul Heyman come out with him, of course. He's the spokesman. He's talking up how Finn Balor, earned his spot, doesn't have a chance. Vince McMahon comes out and, kind of pokes fun at the fact that Finn Balor is like half the size of Brock Lesnar, and so they're both kind of cutting up. Braun Strowman then inserts himself into the scene and says, hey, this is what we got going here. Either one of you guys wins, I'm still waiting in the wings. And then Vince McMahon is telling Strowman he's still lucky he has a job and whatever. Finn Balor comes out. And he's talking about, I know no one believes me, but the Balor Club does, doing the whole face shtick. And it turns into a match between Finn Balor and Strowman. And it's literally, they literally broke out the David and Goliath bit from the Bible. Of course, completely wrong, but whatever. So they're building up this whole David and Goliath thing with Balor and Brock Lesnar. Because how could they not? They did that shtick with Daniel Bryan and Brock Lesnar already. Didn't go anywhere. The Balor-Strowman match was fine. Nothing exceptional to it. No real standout moments to it. It looked like Balor was going to win at the end. Brock Lesnar interferes. DQ. Bobby Lashley, Lio Rush, and Apollo Crews have an in-ring promo after that. Lio Rush is talking up Bobby Lashley. Apollo Crews comes out. They have this little pose off that turns into a match. Now, the whole Lashley, Lio Rush, Apollo Crews bit, I could have done without. You could have taken the whole thing out of the show, and I would have been perfectly happy. But that leads into Lashley and Crews in a match that was nothing spectacular, and not even as good as some of the usual Apollo Crews matches. At the end of the day, Lio Rush gets involved. Bobby Lash capitalizes. Lashley gets the win. Seth Rollins comes out. They have this weird, awkward staring contest. And that goes into a Rollins in-ring promo where he's talking about, Royal Rumble and his drive. And then McIntyre comes out. They cut a promo. And that leads into Rollins versus McIntyre. This was a better match than the first two for sure. Pretty good match overall. I don't know, man. Like, I was hoping that they would really push McIntyre for a while. It looked like they were going to actually push him as one of the top guys. And it just seems to have fallen flat. Rollins gets the win. And there you go. The Revival talking to Vince McMahon backstage. They want a match because of all the times they've been gypped. And then Curt Hawkins is there for some reason, and then Vince McMahon says, okay, Curt Hawkins, you're the referee. Revival get their match. Cut back from commercial, you got a backstage Dean Ambrose promo, which didn't really do anything. Then you get Lucha House Party versus Jinder Mahal and the Singh Brothers. Again, I don't really care. Now, I really like the guys in Lucha House Party. They're incredibly athletic. But they're not really pushed as anything. Most of these guys at 205 Live aren't. They work their asses off. They're honestly the most entertaining parts of the show. And you're left not caring because they don't do anything with them. And that's kind of how this has been with Lucha House Party. So they get the win and whatever. And then you get a kind of weird EC3 promo, which turns into an even weirder EC3 promo with Dana Brooke in the backstage area. And it was just kind of weird, and Elias walks by. So coming back from commercial again, you have Elias in the ring doing his promo bit. Baron Corbin interrupts him, of course. And, even in the promo that Elias did, he was like, do we really need to see this match again? No, we don't at all. This has just been run into the ground. Baron Corbin, I keep saying, is just not that fucking good. And Elias, as much as I like his personality and I like his promos and his music, he's not good enough in the ring, in my estimation, to make this a good match. Because Baron Corbin's not good in the ring. So this is going to be an average match at best on any day. And that's just the way it is. Corbin gets a win. Whatever. A Moment of Bliss is next with Nia Jax, which gets very quickly interrupted by Ember Moon. And they're talking about the Royal Rumble. Ember Moon says she's going to win it. Then Alicia Fox, Mickie James, who else comes out? You had all three members of the Riot Squad, And so kind of chaos breaks out with all those girls as, the setup for the Women's Royal Rumble. And then Alexa Bliss says that she is going to be in the Rumble as well. And then you get Lacey Evans, who apparently is going to debut in the Rumble. And I think that's a bad place because she's not a good wrestler. And if they're thinking about pushing her to the moon, it's going to fail miserably. And that's just kind of the way it is. So after that, you get the debut of Heavy Machinery versus the Ascension. And it was a decent debut, I guess. It made them look like fan favorites. The big guy Otis, he does the worm into the elbow drop and, does all the fan favorite stuff that they do. And they get the win over the Ascension. So at least they debuted against an actual on-roster team instead of a couple of local nobodies that weigh 100 pounds apiece. I hate when they do that. So at least, decent debut. The Revival take on Bobby Roode and Chad Gable with Kurt Hawkins as ref after that. And, the whole story is the Revival keep on trying to cheat the win. Kurt Hawkins keeps on catching every time they cheat. Kurt Hawkins is just on spot. And it winds up that the Revival are their own worst enemies. They cost themselves the win. Bobby Roode, Chad Gable, they get the win. The Revival start beating up Kurt Hawkins. And then Zack Ryder, who you haven't seen in forever, comes down and takes care of the Revival. And then picks up Kurt Hawkins. And it looks like you got the Edgeheads reunited. After that, you get a Ronda Rousey promo, and I actually thought it was a really good promo because when Ronda Rousey gets into a promo, she gets into her feelings, man, her emotions come out, and you can really feel what she's saying. So it was a really good promo. That turns into Ronda Rousey and Natalya versus Sasha Banks and Bayley. It's the main event. Sasha starts out with her own in-ring promo talking about how she has fought to get where she has been and she's the legitimate part of the Four Horsewomen and, she's a 4-time women's champion and all this stuff. And it really, really does set a good tone. And that turns into Ronda Rousey, Natalya, Sasha Banks, Bayley. Decent match for what it was. I actually kind of liked it. The story here is basically another version of David and Goliath. Sasha Banks going up against the baddest woman on the planet, Ronda Rousey. And kind of setting up that Sasha Banks is a legitimate contender. And Sasha Banks is really good in the ring, and I think she was fine in this match in particular. She winds up getting the bank statement on Natalya. She actually at one point had the bank statement on Ronda Rousey. So it was kind of nice because you got to see both women kind of hit their finisher on the other one, or their submission hold anyway. And it was really nice. Banks stood tall at the end, and so it's a nice setup for Sunday. there was a couple of things I really liked about tonight. The first is right off the bat, Brock Lesnar is finally getting physical on Monday Night Raw. He's in there, he's throwing Finn Balor around, Finn Balor's kicking him around. It was nice to see. The Braun Strowman Finn Balor match, Brock Lesnar was actually kind of instrumental in a lot of things that happened, so it was a cool way to start the show. The second promo bit I could have cared less about with Lashley and Apollo Crews. Match was decent, whatever. Rollins, Drew McIntyre, Rollins and McIntyre the match. It was good. I liked it. And then it just kind of started falling apart. The revival thing's been done to death. Lucha House Party, like I said, they're really talented, but WWE has no love for these guys, and that's just what it is. Dean Ambrose promo wasn't much. Elias Corbin's been done to death. It did have some good moments, though. Beginning and the ending were good. Couple of decent matches in between. I'll give it a 4 out of 10. I think it was slightly below average. I think if I wanted to see something, I wanted to be more entertained. And to be honest, I started watching it on TV, and I turned it off before the second hour was done, and I just finished watching it on YouTube the next morning. That's how interested I was in it. So I finally got to see the last match, and I was like, alright, that's a step in the right direction. But yeah, 4 out of 10. I feel like slightly below average. They could have done more. They could have tried to make some match. The thing that I don't like about Raw nowadays is they have a couple of good matches that are pointing toward, a couple of main event matches, and then everything else is just thrown together. If they actually took the time to construct an entire show, I think we'd be a lot better off. But they don't do that. They just don't do that, and I don't know why. So ladies and gentlemen, that's where I'm at, 4 out of 10. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you enjoyed this, hit the like button, subscribe, and share. My name is Kevin Jackwoods. Kaged Nation, out.